Y'all know what it is.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. And it's funny. One example I always use, sort of around this topic is this idea that, in my business, whenever I was, especially when I was younger, but, if we were hungry for work and we were trying to find new clients or whatever, I'm not a particularly spiritual guy, but like I would sort of just, I don't know, say out loud to somebody that I need work, hey, we're looking for projects, man, we're out there on the hunt. And I think just by saying it out loud, and again, back to our ideas of manifestation and knowing what we want, you begin sort of acting as if, right? So then I start behaving like somebody who's looking for work, which, whether it's, in the juju or it's out in the air or whatever it is, or whether I'm just saying, keywords on social media or, whatever it is, this amalgamation of intention and, idea of what I'm looking for and all that sort of usually, with almost 100% in my experience, ends up manifesting as work. And so I think it's really interesting as you're taking us through this journey, how I can look at these little things that I've done over the years and go, okay, well, that makes absolute sense to me, so I'm really enjoying this. Thank you.
Brilliant. Well, and I think something that actually comes from what you're saying there is that, it's easy. I love talking about the sexiness that people get lost in, but we can get caught in the sexiness and lose sight of the fact that reality is actually measurably operating at different levels of density. Measurably. We've got physical matter that we taste, see, and touch, and we use, instruments to measure what's going on. I can weigh myself and know where I'm at. But then I have thought waves, thought forms that are actually expressing as my ability to have the neural pathways actually lead to the behaviors that get me where I am. Right. And that's going to depend physically on my genetics. So, for example, I started working out with this online training company and they were like, yeah, we're going to sort your diet out and stuff. And I'd actually found that the keto thing and I tried it out and it was working for me. And they're like, no, that's rubbish. You've got to eat carbs. I put on 20 pounds eating carbs. When I got my DNA checked, I was actually optimized for burning fat over carbs. Now, that's not for everybody. Going back to, doing things other people's way, it worked for me. But me making the choice and having thoughts of how I want to see myself, like what shape do I want to be in, what health do I want to be in, those thoughts become neural pathways that become behaviors. Those behaviors and choices were matched against how I show up optimally will lead to positive results. But none of this is possible unless I'm able to emotionally hold the experience, because as you know, we have crimes of passion. The way that we think is affected by emotional state. And the way that we think affects what we're able to choose. So what we're feeling, what we're thinking and what we're doing will always lead to what we experience. We just don't always consciously go through the process of putting those pieces together.
Yeah.
I have sense.
I have this thing where if I want to do something or get something done, I'll tell it to someone. I'll say, hey, this is what my goal is. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. And by verbalizing that to someone else, now they're holding me accountable to get it done. So that's kind of my little trick to doing stuff is I'll vocalize it to someone else, not just myself, because I can hold myself accountable. But if I've said that to someone else, even though they're not going to come up and say, hey, are you doing your pull-ups this week? Are are you working on the lawn? Whatever my goal is, they're not going to say that to me. But the fact that I told them I'm working out or I'm doing this or I'm dieting or whatever it is I'm doing, that holds me in account to myself. That's kind of my little trick that I do.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. And that's sort of my experience as well, Mike, is that, I think, ultimately what you're doing is saying it to yourself, which is giving you sort of permission to move forward. But I seek a lot of outside validation myself. And so that's something that, to hear it from somebody else or to have at least said it out loud to somebody else, I feel a greater sense of need to do what I said I would do.
And there's an idea that I love to throw in the mix. I love throwing in contrary ideas, like just to kind of disrupt things is I always invite people to say, why have you not claimed it? Why have you not said it out loud? And generally speaking, it's because there's a feeling of fear, unworthiness, or anxiety about it, which actually is giving you a clue as to what the emotional space is. And abundance doesn't really come from an emotional space of fear. They're not connected. There's a different experience that's going to flow from that fear, a different mental process that's going to be going on, different neural pathways that are going to be imprinted, different habits and behaviors and choices, which is not going to lead me to my abundance. So, taking stock and being, again, very intentional about what I'm choosing to feel, what I'm choosing to think, and what I'm choosing to do will lead me to the outcome that I want to experience.